It's so good to see people. I feel like I've been away for a little while, but it's good to be back, and I'm so keen on this call. Yeah, thanks for getting on. Let's just get straight into it because I'm just so excited to share with what I'm going to share today. I'm actually going to put this one out as an actual podcast episode, so you're going to be involved in it. I don't know how whether it's going on here or I've got another recording out here, so feel free to just take it as it comes. But I really am excited to have you all here and talk on the topic that I'll be talking on today. And I also wanted to be a bit interactive, so I want to give you some things. If you've got a pen and paper, definitely this is your chance to do it. And as always, I'm here to guide you and help you kind of make 2025 the best year you can possibly make, because why not? We're going to be doing it anyway, so might as well enjoy the process and set it up correctly. Because really, when I was looking at this episode and in this workshop, and we will be doing a Q&A at the end of this, so definitely hang around and we can definitely chat back and forward to give you those answers or answer your questions that you need. But really, when it comes down to, before we get into setting up our new year, it's all about taking that responsibility, right? So it's taking responsibility for ourselves. And when I was 18, quick little backstory, when I started working in musical theatre, I'd never read a book in my life. And I wasn't really taking responsibility. I was just like thrown into this industry. I didn't even study the industry. I just kind of was like, oh yeah, I've got dance abilities. Here we go, chuggers. And so I was just like deer in the headlights, absorbing it all, taking it all in, and doing my best to make it happen. And whilst I was able to make that kind of happen in my own creative way, I was led by an amazing woman that I want to say kind of saved me and helped me guide towards building this sustainable and long, fun career that I have now. And one part of that was she got me onto reading, and oh my gosh, me at 18, literally this buzz of energy that just wanted to do 20 million things at once, kind of still like that, but I'm a bit more regulated now, a bit more focused. But what I'm saying is that I didn't really have any idea when it came to mindset, when it came to taking responsibility. I was 18, I just wanted to have fun. Like, I'm in New Zealand playing on stages and just like, woo, I want to go out for drinks and like wake up in the morning and whatever ever time, eat whatever. Anyway, and that is fun, and that we all need to do that, right? But when it comes down to sustainably building a career on purpose, things don't just happen like that. I was very lucky for that to kind of like fall into place as it did. But what I found was that to create it long term, we can't do that. We need to be like, I needed to like rein it all in to then be able to make it all happen. So today's call is kind of based on that, and based off the second book that I ever read, which was How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be by Jack Canfield. Oh my gosh, you could spend like a month on each chapter. Two really cool things. Well, one really cool thing that I can think of the top of my head. If you're don't like reading much, this is really good for you, because I was going to say episodes. Chapters are a few pages long, and they're all specifically actionable steps you can take. And you can kind of do it once a week, you could do it once a day, but it kind of builds upon the next chapter. And if you wanted to get a book and you're kind of like, what do I need to read for 2025 to get started? This would be an amazing book for you. So any of my listeners there, that I'll put this out as a podcast episode, How to Get From Where You Are to Where You Want to Be. I'll share a link on where to buy it. It says the 25 Principles of Success. It's very American, so here I know we have different levels of success and what that means. I would put 25 Principles of Fulfillment. And the first chapter in this is taking responsibility for your life. 100% responsibility for your life. So let me read a little bit about what that means. So it says here, if you want to be successful, you have to take 100% responsibility for everything that you experience in your life. This includes the level of your achievements, the results you produce, the quality of your relationships, the state of your health and physical fitness, your income, your debts, your feelings, everything. And it says that it's obviously not easy to do that, because you know what is really easy? To kind of just like blame others, or blame the industry, or blame that teacher, or blame the weather, and blame all these things. But there's actually real power when you can understand that when you take 100% responsibility of everything that's happening to you, that means that you have responsibility, and you have actual, it's how, what do they say? Responsibility is actually how you respond to basically your abilities and the things that are happening out there. And I wanted to kind of not disempower you, but I wanted to kind of be this way of looking at this new year in a way of how am I responding to the world and out there? What's happening in my world that I can actually take hold of and go, you know what? It doesn't matter if the weather's this. It doesn't matter if I get cut from every audition. What matters is I take responsibility for what I do. I stay in my lane. I show up for me. I do what I need to do to stay in my lane, keep the laser sharp focus moving forward, and just celebrate everyone else that's, out here doing their, looking there. I feel like 2025, put your hand up if you feel like 2025 really needs to be about that laser sharp focus, about literally going, let's just celebrate everyone where they are. Let's not compare, because you know what? Comparison's actually not real. I know a lot of us in musical theatre and looking to get in musical theatre, we compare a lot, but there is no version of you out there. There's not a single same person as you. They may look kind of like you, they may be somewhere that you want to be, but they are not you and you are not them. So the concept of comparison is really silly, because there's literally not another person on the planet that has your makeup, your set of skills, your fingerprint, your life experience. So let's use that as our power to go into 2025 of going, what am I comparing about? And usually I always say, and it's not in every sense, but in my experience, comparison, whenever I'm going in that road, it's usually just a reflection of what I'm not doing, right? And I know sometimes it's hard to swallow. I'll look at someone, they'll be like, oh, they're killing it doing this, they're singing amazing. Well, Taylor, when was the last singing class you went to? Probably a few months ago. So it's about being fun with yourself as well, and really becoming super reflective. And that's what we're going to be doing on the call today. So how does that sound, that we're going to just go in and take responsibility? Because once you do that, you actually free yourself up, because that means you get to decide. You get to decide every single thing that you respond to, because ultimately everything that you respond to gives you your outcome. Does that make sense? So for anyone that kind of was like, what does that mean? Is that if you were writing down now, what is it? It's like event plus, give me some maths here, so hold on. It's an actual a more of an analogy other than, here it is. Here we go. So E plus R equals O. This changed everything for me when I learned about this, and we will get into the goal setting in a moment. But I just want this to sink in for you. So if you're new to kind of personal development, you're new here into the world of Taylor Scanlon, we're all about kind of giving you I want to give you lots of different things, because some people are visual, some people are mathematical, some people are audible, some people are expressive, so I'm giving them a little bit of taste of everything. So E plus R equals O. So that stands for event plus response equals your outcome. So the basic idea is that every outcome you experience in life, so whether it's a success or a failure, wealth or poverty, health or illness, intimacy or whatever, joy, frustrations, is a result of how you've responded to an earlier event or events in your life. And if you don't like the outcomes you're currently getting, there are two basic choices you can make. So the first thing that we tend to do is that we can blame the event. The event happens, maybe, okay, let's go into an audition. We've just come out in an audition and we're going, we're blaming the audition. Oh, it was run terribly and I couldn't pick it up the choreo and that pianist didn't play my music right, and we just kind of put it all on the outside, because it's easier, right? It's easier to kind of look at the scenario, and sometimes it's true. But what I want you to kind of understand is when we blame and we complain, all of that is stopping your growth, because it's putting the power to everyone else but you. So it's giving your power over to the pianist, to the place, to the time, to how it was structured, to all these other things. And I think everyone inside our community here is kind of on that other edge. We're not living and breathing the complaining and blaming, but we're all human and sometimes we can dive into that. And that's okay. Sometimes it happens to me too. But just know that when we are blaming and complaining, we need to kind of get rid of those for 2025, because again, we are energetic beings, and whatever we're giving our energy to, we're going to really know where we're putting our energy in 2025. There's a lot of things happening in the world. There's so much access to knowledge and information. So everyone's kind of energy hungry, right? We're all kind of like wanting another coffee. We want to hack how to feel the best way we can. So all of this is designed to give us energy. That's what we're kind of like looking for, because without energy, we're kind of nothing, right? So let's become hyper aware of where we're giving our energy. And the first thing you can do that will help you as an artist going into the industry is to really learn how you're taking responsibility and how you respond to the events that are happening. So just that amazing concept of, okay, how I respond gives my outcome. For example, like this, I'm just trying to give an example here. Okay, if I go into an audition, let's just say auditions coming up, very relevant anyway. I'm going into an audition, it didn't go the best, but instead I responded in a way that was like, all right, I'm gonna reflect on that, this went well, maybe I feel a little bit shitty for a second, I'm gonna have a little cry, but then how I respond is moving forward. What can I gain from this experience? What did I learn from this experience? What am I proud of from this experience? And how can I move from here? How am I responding to that circumstance? And then that actually gives you your future outcome, right? Then you can say it on the other end. If you went into an audition space and maybe you did really well, but you're really harsh critic. A lot of performers, including myself when I was earlier on, were really harsh critics, like to a T, wanted to overanalyze every single possible thing. And again, it's coming back to that thing. What is supporting you? Does that feel supportive? Do you feel energized from that action? No, not a lot of the time. So it's really about understanding ourselves in 2025. It's about really diving in and going, okay, how am I responding? How can I dial up this energy? How can I give myself more energy? And really just be that ultimate reflector and ultimate just curator of your own life. Because when you start doing that, you start to see patterns and you start to see, oh, do I really want to start following that passion? Do I really want to start following that pattern or this? What do I want instead? Know that you actually have the power in every moment to decide something new. But 95% of the time we're running on unconscious patterns, meaning that we have a set of things that we do. Like think about this morning, right? Then we all wake up, you probably get out of the bed the same way, you brush your teeth with the same toothbrush and the same hand. You probably, when you go into the shower, probably too much information, but you probably like wash the same parts of your body at the same time, and then when you get out of the shower you probably towel your hair, and it's all automatic. And we actually need a lot of these automatic things, right, to keep us alive. But there's also so many automatic things like self-criticism or things that start to dive in that actually aren't supportive. So I want you to, after this episode or after this workshop, to really just become, in a compassionate way, really understand, what am I doing? Because you are exactly where you are right now based off all of the beliefs that you currently have. And beliefs show up as behaviors. So in order to change a new belief, what do we need to do? Change our behaviors. And how to do that is by becoming aware of our behaviors. What are we doing? What actions are we taking? And again, we've really got to be compassionate about when we become aware, because again, if we're running on that over-analytical mind that loves to self-criticism and do those things, once we start giving awareness to all these things that maybe don't want to be brought to light, we just got to be kind to ourselves in that, and just know that you have an option in every single circumstance to stay there or to move forward. Just become aware. Learn to start becoming aware and being like, does this serve me? Is procrastinating on the thing that I know I need to do for another week serving me? Or is it just biting at my self-respect and my self-discipline? What happens if you just did, what does one step towards that look like today? I think sometimes we overcomplicate. Not sometimes, as a human race, we overcomplicate life as a whole. And so it's really about just simplifying your process, being that kind and compassionate performer, and really just dialing in the relationship with yourself. That's something that's coming in with me in this new year, is really just deepening in the relationship to self, because we give as performers that we forget to actually give back to ourselves. And really, we can only be as good and as supportive and as interactive and active in the industry when we are filling our cups, and that we are, we all know these things. You're probably listening to this today going, oh, I kind of know that, but are we practicing it? Are we showing up? Are we doing those things? Because it's doing, like I say forever. You can read this book 20 times, you can read my whole library over there, we can have chats till the cows come home, but if you're just sitting on the couch doing the same old things, nothing's going to change. You can listen to this episode 20 million times, but if you actually don't apply the things and get curious and actually take on the knowledge you're being given and try it out, you could try all these things and it might not work, and that's okay. But at least you've tried it and made that step forward. So that's what 2025 to me is all about. Just trying new things. Don't be afraid. Everything is just data, whether it's good or bad. Just go for it. Try something new. Try an instrument. Try that. You're not running out of time. Musical theater is not going anywhere. You can do musical theater at 60-year-old plus. Like, stop rushing to get into something that you're building for a lifetime. So why don't we just dial in, look after ourselves, and be kind and compassionate as we go in there, yeah? Taylor Scanlon rant over. Okay, does that sound all good? Thumbs up? Yes. So if anyone's listening on the podcast, we're live here inside our amazing community in the Performance Mindset Hub. If you haven't checked it out yet, we currently have 44 members inside. It's a mindset hub that I designed for performers looking to get into the industry, but just needing that support and needing that guidance. And I think when I was 18, I had no idea about this, and I had just one person that helped me understand about it. And now we're already a community of 44 members inside this, and I just think it's so awesome. So if you're listening to the podcast and you want more information about that, you can still get inside free by clicking the link in the description below. Okay, so let's get back into the workshop. So for the next few minutes or so, let's dive in, let's create some goals. And as always, I'm here to give you resources out the wazoo. So if you are listening in, you're driving, or if you're just listening on the workshop today and you're not having a pen on paper, I've already created a whole jot form where you can fill out all these questions. You can send it to me so I can see it all and I can support you too. So I'm gonna kind of zip through it, but the best thing to do if you are going through these kind of 2025 goal setting questions is just to write maybe one word or a sentence as you're going through, and then if you're listening to the podcast or if you're inside our group, I'll send you a link to fill out this form in whole and give you a bit more time with that. That's so that we're not on here for hours and on hours, which I know a lot of us probably just want to stay on here, but let's move forward. Okay, so let's get into 2025. So we can't actually go into 2025 without actually knowing where we are. There's this analogy of when we are, have you ever been to going to your friend's house and you kind of know where the address is, but you kind of forget. So you call your friend and you say, hey, I think I'm near your house, but can you give me directions on how to get there? What's the first thing they're gonna ask us? Where are you? Where are you? Because we need to know where we are to be directed to where we want to go. I heard that recently today and I thought that was really cool. So in order for us to understand where we want to go, we really need to understand where we are. And we can do this by dialing in our reflection. So here are 5 questions to easily and quickly, effectively reflect on your 2024. First thing, what made you proud of 2024? So what made you proud? Let's celebrate your wins for a second. And something that you can do if you're listening in and you want to kind of go through this. I did this for an hour yesterday. I know not everyone has the luxury of time of doing it. Maybe you do it over this coming week as we're starting into Jan 2025. Get your camera roll out on your phone. This is the only time I'll allow you to just scroll on your phone, even on your Instagram. Just don't get sidetracked to looking at all the other things. And look at all the things you did. Look at January on your phone and the photos. I was looking through and I was like, oh my gosh, I launched the Dive podcast 1 year ago, and I feel like I've been doing it forever. And I was camping and I launched it and I had no reception and I just knew that I wanted it to be on that date, and I was stubborn, and I was like, no, 1st of Jan, we're doing it. And so I remember the day I had to get my car and drive like, I don't know, 30 minutes with my fiance to find reception on top of a mountain, and we like published it and we made it happen. But like there's all these things that you'll start to go through your year to be like, oh my gosh, that was a highlight. Oh, that was a highlight. Or what made you proud? What made you feel, and it can be small. Again, we need to be self-reflective. Do not think for a second, what did everyone else celebrate me on? Don't give it away. Like, celebrate your wins. Was it on stage? Was it in audition? Was it like, I've got my cat here, but like, just like being with your cat or whatever it is, like what made you proud and what made you excited and what made you feel like those little nice feelings in 2024. So, another thing could be just simply showing up. Again, nothing matters in this whole reflection other than yourself, how that made you feel. So that's the first question. Go in there, go through your camera roll. It's a really cool thing because there's probably 95% of your year you don't even recognize the wins that you've done, the amount of progress you've made. Oh my gosh, like you just don't know. And we always never do it, which is so weird. We always think about, right, here's the next thing. We need to do this, but I'm not here, so I need to go forward, and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, wait a second, what about all these amazing things that you've just been doing for the past year? And the cool thing about this, everyone, is that when you actually do that first exercise, you're unlocking one extra thing. And you're unlocking what is important to you, what excites you, and like what you value the most. That's really special, because if those things light you up, we're going to be ringing those things, more of those into 2025. So just go through your camera roll, go have a little look at those things, and yeah, as I said, I have a jot form. You can fill all this out, share it with me, and I can also, inside our group, I'll have a list of all these questions that you can go into too. So once you've gone through that and you've like, woo, feeling amazing, let's dive into, maybe the other side of the coin, which we need to, what challenges did you face? And, what did they teach you? I think challenges, when you're growing, I like to say we're growing pains. We have growing pains when we're growing. And it's really important that we feel that happen. So what challenges did you face? Maybe what kind of did you set for yourself, but it didn't really work out that way? What did it teach you as well? Because I think if we can think of everything as data, nor good or bad, but just data to kind of go in and be like, that was a challenge. Did I grow from it? Did I let it take over me? Like, just get really reflective, again, from this kind and compassionate, vibey way, and just think of things as like setbacks as lessons. What did this teach me? How did you adapt in that scenario? Like, was that a really strong and difficult time? And just acknowledge that, because we're human. We came here to have a human experience, to live all of the emotions. So just know that if you're going through your list and your camera roll and there were some hard times, you're human. You're meant to. We're not designed to live at this high state, high vibrational, I'm not like that 24/7. It'd be absolutely exhausting. Like my whole day today, I was I just had a tea before. I had a sound bath nap on my couch. I went for a walk. I went for yoga, because I know I have to be on for my community, on live, and giving my full self, because that's what our community deserves. So it's just really understanding, again, being that super reflector. I know that's what I need. Otherwise, if I was just talking and like this all day, I'd get to, which I have before, got to a call like this and I forget my place. I wouldn't be my best self. I wouldn't be grounded, and so on and so forth. So what challenges did you face? What did you go through? What was difficult? But more so, what did you learn from that? What did it teach you? Because everything in life is just a teacher. It's this master teacher to teaching you really what you need to kind of go towards next. I always say that emotions are just energy in motion, and the emotions that we feel are all just directing us either on the path or off the path, or essentially towards where we need to go. So I always say follow the good feelings. Things that feel amazing, that light you up, is actually your higher self guiding you towards exactly where you need to go. Anything that doesn't feel, that gut feeling like, this doesn't feel right, that means you've kind of gone off the track. You're hunting down the woods up here, and in the woods they're like, no darling, this is not for you. You need to go back on that track towards where you need to go. So then we go, oh, that's why it doesn't feel good, because I'm not actually designed to be here. So allow that to be your kind of second question. Third question, what habits, thoughts, or actions held me back? So what habits and thoughts, and actions really held you back? Maybe not really held you back, but what things kind of came up? Was it overthinking? Did you feel like 2024, you just maybe overthought things way too much and that made you not take action? What were the things? Was it self-doubt? Did you let the doubt overtake you? Or did you kind of like, maybe 2024, you had the doubt, but maybe it just held you back from taking that next step, which you knew you could have done? So really get reflective of that. What habits, thoughts, and actions held you back? Was it procrastination, fear of judgment, fear of success, or even fear of failure? Or there's actually that fear of success is a real thing, which is crazy, right? What it basically means is that a lot of the time, we always talk about fear of rejection, fear of failure, all that stuff, but fear of success is real, because I don't like the word success because I think we're all successful in our own right, but when we really unpack it, it's being really fearful of standing in that power, of being seen. That's a real thing. And if we don't feel grounded and supported and powerful in feeling seen and feeling open, imagine how much of our behavior, which again, going back, is our beliefs show up as our behavior, how we're showing that in a rehearsal room or an audition panel. If we ultimately somewhere deep down don't really want to be seen, or what are people going to think of me if I'm all of a sudden performing at shows a week, are my friends going to be left there? Like, there's so many other things happening. And so without getting too enwrapped with it, just quickly answer, what habits, thoughts, and actions held you back? And maybe if you want to add a little thing in there, identify one thing that you're just ready to release. What are you ready to release? Know that when you're going into this reflection and you're looking to release habits and things like that, again, going back to the 95% of our time we are spending basically doing the same things and thinking the same things. And I just want you to know right now that every single thing in your past, you don't have to take with you. It's like this baggage that we hold on to. Like, we got all these books. It's like we carry around all these things, if you're watching me. And we're like, yep, that's all good, I'm gonna hold that. But you can literally just put down all of that garbage, and that it can be as simple as that. Or sometimes we think, oh no, I need to do this incredible 20-day course, and I need to pay all this money, and I need to do all these classes and make it so hard. It can be just the simplest thing. Healing and moving forward in your life can be the easiest and easeful and exciting thing ever. It can be a bit scary, but again, it's how we think about things. Our behavior showing up. If we behave and we believe that it's got to be hard, then we will behave in a way that it's going to be hard. I recently went through this, a quick side note before we continue, is that I had a real strong belief that I had to work immensely hard to achieve anything, right? And I know it's kind of like, if you're a performer, it's kind of like this, you may tune in or out on this, but it's just something that I've gone through, is that yes, there has to be a certain amount of effort, but I think the word hard indicates that it has to be difficult for something to happen. So maybe coming in, what I've basically been to rewrite myself is, instead of working really hard, it's working really intentionally. So let's work really intentionally instead of really hard, because that always led me to burnout personally. And I ended up starting to equivalent? I don't know what the word is. You know what it is? I started to assimilate. Is that the word? Whatever it is that I used to essentially build myself all the way to burnout, and I would have that as like an authority to be like, yes, I worked hard, I achieved. But like, no, we don't need to get to burnout. What happens if it just gets to be simple and intentional, and that can build over time, and that it can be fun? Like, let's allow ourselves to have all of that. Again, these are all kind of old habits that we get taught upon us, but again, it's not about what is taught to us or the events that happen, it's how we respond to them. So maybe things have come up for you in this session so far, but again, let's be kind, let's be compassionate, and just know that anything you want to release, you can release just like that. maybe write it out on a piece of paper. If you want to be dramatic, light it on fire safely, or just like tear it up and put it in the bin and be like, sorry darling, thank you for getting me to where I am today, but you are no longer. And this is what I want to step into now. I'm ready to support myself in this way. Simple as that, seriously. Okay, final 2 questions for the reflection. I know this workshop is kind of a little bit bigger, but 2025, if you're really wanting to set it up, we really got to get that reflection. So is everyone with me so far? Thumbs up. Amazing. Great. Fantastic. All right, let's get out of the, I don't want to say negativity, but we've got into some challenges. What's held you back? Let's get back into it. So the 4th out of the 5 questions of reflection is, what lights me up as a performer? Woo! This gets me excited, this question, because what moments remind you of why you love what you do? What fuels your passion? Again, we are like a car. I know we're not a machine, we're a human being with multidimensional sort of aspects to ourselves, but in terms of our car and what we need to move forward, what actually puts the fuel in? What's getting you off the couch? A lot of performers and myself, we sometimes lack with motivation. You don't lack motivation, you lack like movement and fuel to get in there. Like, what are you eating? Who are you surrounding yourselves with? Have you seen sunshine? Have you seen water? Like, get out there. And again, also, what are you consuming? What are you listening to? Who are you surrounding yourself with? That's all fuel. And I always say, try and find a network. And I know inside our network here, we're all expanding and we're all growing together, which is so awesome. And maybe this group is one of your main aspects of people that you're around, but start to find people that are expanders in your life, because what that means is that you're automatically going to expand. Not which I know it's sometimes hard with our family, but sorry, I have to say it, but family is not always the most supportive, and they can be draining sometimes because they are not going where you want to go a lot of the time. So when we're sharing with them our dreams and things, they just don't get it, okay? And if they do, amazing. We love your family. And my family's also been really supportive, but I want you to step into the next level version of you. And in order to do that, it means stepping outside and towards people that are your expanders and that are already where you are, right? And I feel like that's in our community, where a lot of our community get a lot of inspiration from me, because I'm actually living it. I've been living it. I'm still living it. I'm still auditioning. I'm doing all these things. And so by automatically being around myself, you're expanding because you're wanting to have or be where I want to be, which is awesome. And I'm here to show you to do that. But you've got to also find some other people that, it can be really specific too. It could be a singing expander. It could be a yoga expand. Like, look at your expanders. Where are you wanting to expand? Because again, we're elastic as beings. We need to move and morph and do new things. And a lot of the time when we're stagnant and still like a rock, that's where our emotions can also reflect that too. Oh, channeling in all these gorgeous words today. I'm so happy I'm recording today. Sometimes I have these amazing rants, and I know a few people are on here from past programs I've been running. I sometimes forget to press record, so here we are. So what lights you up as a performer? Once you've wrote all of that out, write out what your fuel is. If you want to be creative, draw a car and write little tabs all the way out of it. Like, what's your fuel to go into that car? What car are you driving? What is it? Whatever it is. You can also do a photo of yourself. Okay, final question of the reflection before we get into setting up 2025. What values matter most to me? What values matter most to me? Oh, I love it. I can almost cry. Is that, what actually matters most? Okay, we all know in our hub here that what matters most is your health and your energy and your time. And yeah, essentially more so your health, your mindset, your mental health and your physical health for sure. But what values what matter most to you? I'll give you some examples. So like integrity. Is being integral something that you value most? Is being authentic? Is being joyous? Like joy, connection. What principles of these values do you really want to embody in your career, in your life, and coming into the new year? I kind of put this at the end of the reflection as we go into the kind of setting up the new year, because I think it's really important. And maybe you want to look at like, what values did you have in 2024? And were they supportive? Did you really live them? And that's okay if you didn't. Maybe they were just new values. You were just popping in going, I'm going to try this out. But then going into 2025, what are you really wanting to bring? You know, I would say like 3 to 4 max. And really dive into that. And each day, if you ever feel lost, you feel confused, go back to those values. How can I be integral in this next decision? You know, I set up myself to go to the class and here I am on the couch canceling again, you know? Guilty over here, right? So, you know, whatever it is, again, it's coming from that compassionate, kind place because you are the only person that spends the most time with you. So if we can't be kind and compassionate as we go through these growing pains and being compassionate and the kindness is kind of like the medicine to the growing pains. It's the only way. If we get really harsh with all of it, we just get more pain, and we don't want pain. We're not about pain here. We're about growth and desire and moving forward. So what values do you want to bring into the new year? Fabulous. Let's take a 5-second break. Let's grab some water if you're listening in. I know it's been like 37 minutes. The next 5 ones are actually a lot easier because the reflection kind of takes a little bit longer because we've gone through a whole year, right? So we really need to kind of go through the weeds and understand what's working well. But now we know where we are, right? We know where we are as an individual when we've done these questions. We can kind of like leave 2024 there and go, right, let's set up this new year. That's what a lot of people and myself mistake, is that I used to kind of just like never reflect and be like, well, I'm here now, so let's go forward and forward and forward. Increase burnout, decrease in awareness, and increase in bringing all the things that I didn't want from the previous year into the new one because you didn't reflect. You didn't realize, oh, that actually didn't serve me. Yeah? Okay, let me have a sip of tea. Fabulosa. So let's get into your empowered vision. Question number 1, if you could wave a magic wand, what would you want your career to look like 1 year from now? This is all about writing freely. It's not about we need to kind of let go of attachments, right? Because a lot of the time, you have no idea what's in store for you. So why not just dream big? Look, worst thing that's going to happen is that you're going to go towards that goal. You would have learned so many things, developed so much, and maybe you're going to surprise yourself. So sometimes when we're setting goals and we go like, if I could wave a magic wand, I would be in a musical theater show and I would be a lead. Yeah, and so what? What happens if that happens for you? Allow yourself to dream to move there. Because actually, what have you been believing the most? That it can't be possible for you, that you need another 5 years of training, that you need another thing, another this and more money and this, like, they're all the things that are holding you back. Not actually going for it. And I know it's that marry between, you do have to have skill, you do have to work intentionally, not hard. But when you marry skill and you marry the way you look after yourself, and that's where I truly believe I live now, things just happen. Things happen for you because you're in alignment. And that's what we're about in this community that I've been building. It's about really building an aligned performer self, the one that's sustainable, that sustains all of it and that can enjoy each step. It's not about quick wins, rushing, but I'll do this because I'm going to do this class because I know they're teaching this audition and then I've got to be in like, stop mapping it all out. Why don't you just trust that it's all working out for you? Why don't you just trust that if you keep backing yourself and showing up for the things you know you need to do, what if you just keep doing those things and it all works out? Because it can. Again, it's the side of the coin you want to believe. I believe more so the other side. That's what I teach now, and that's what I've been doing for 10 years. So let me be an example, and I will hold your hand and tell you that it is possible for sure. So what will your career look like 1 year from now? You know, where are you performing? How do you feel? And who are you becoming? Woo! Where are you performing? How do you feel? Who are you becoming? Boom. I'll move on to the next one. What are the 3 goals? So when you do that, write freely and just see what comes up. Usually the ones that come near the end, after you've probably filled out half a page, is what really matters to you, which is cool. And then from that, just identify 3 key goals that you want to achieve in the year. So the 3 main ones. So again, doesn't have to be getting into a musical, which I know a lot of us, that will be an amazing one. But, think of all the other aspects. For example, build a self-tape library that you're proud of, that it's ready to go. Maybe it's a goal to feel confident walking into an audition room, or being detached from the outcome and truly living that. Like, these are pretty cool goals. So really be creative. Don't just think it's the goal that's been set for me. I need to be this and this. No. A lot of us are either moving out of training, or like we've done everyone that kind of comes to this hub or to my community has already done some form of training, or kind of the back end of their training, so they know what is working, right? So you kind of can be a little bit more creative. You don't need a teacher outside of you to be like, you need to be this theater swing here because you look this way, and you need to be in this musical because you fit that brief. Great, that's nice, but you know what you need, and you know what you desire, and you know what you want, and that is all possible. And that's what you should be having as your guiding force moving forward. Use all things as knowledge and data, not as gospel. Again, you know what you want, and you already know what you have to do. We just got to get our butts into gear and go and get it, honey. Okay, how will it feel to achieve those goals? Probably one of my favorite questions of the whole entire call today as we start to wrap up. How will it feel to achieve your goals? Imagine right now you've achieved those 3 goals, or at least one of the major ones, the ones that you would just cry and die if you got it or you achieved it. You're there. I just want to say congrats, well done, slay, you'd made it. How do you feel? And write this out in detail. This is going to change everything for you, change everything for me, because what happens when you start to when you bring feeling into it and emotion, this is something I'm going to dive a lot into teaching this year as I start to bring out a few exciting offers and programs with my community, is that when we bring their feeling to things, what it's going to feel like when we have already achieved it, then we're tapping into emotion, and emotion is the biggest driver for taking action, which we love. No more worrying about, feeling motivated, I'm not motivated. How will you feel once you've achieved those things? And then starting to essentially align your schedule, align your life with the guidance towards feeling those things in the now. For example, if you would feel just so grateful, then you could start your day with, what's one thing today that would make me feel that much gratitude? Because if you start feeling the things today that you will say you will think, because a lot of the time we actually don't want the goal. I've said this a lot of times. We actually don't want the car, we don't want the musical, we don't want the thing. We actually just want how it will feel. The relief, the excitement, how I'll just feel I'll be able to tell and do that post and write a snazzy little caption that I'm in the show. Like, that's how it will feel. We actually don't want the thing, or how it will feel. And you don't have to wait a year, 2 years, 3 years for that to happen. You can feel all those things in the now. And it's actually within those feelings that's actually going to guide you to that destination. Because it makes no sense if you built your life based off how you will feel, which is the driver of action, to take you towards those things that will make you have those results. It just makes no sense if that just doesn't work. It has to work because it's already working for you. Because right now we're feeling the opposite. We're not feeling successful. We're not feeling, you may be, don't want to push you down, but maybe a lot of the time we're feeling not empowered and not ready and comparing and the opposite. If that, we know now that all those emotions are driving us towards the direction of that. So it's all about just changing that direction, and how amazing that you can just use that driving force. So if you're ever lost again, going through 2025, ask yourself that question. If I was already where I want to be, how would I feel? And what's one thing I can do today that would make me feel that? Because automatically your guidance system is going to tap you towards the exact next step you need to take. No more feeling confused, no more feeling doubt, because you already essentially know what you need to do. And if you tap into the emotion, you'll start to reprogram your mind towards exactly where you need to go. Publish that. Okay, so the final 3 questions? 3 questions. What small daily, and this is kind of back on the back end, I'll kind of skim through this. It's what small daily or weekly actions will move me closer to feeling those feelings and which in turn guides me to my goals. So for example, maybe it's practicing singing for the love of it for 20 minutes a day. Because you know that if you were in a musical, maybe you didn't need to practice singing as much because you're just doing it and you just want to do it for love, right? Not to get into anything. That's the massive thing about manifesting if you've never done it before. Manifesting truly comes when you're doing things without an expected result. Because it's really, if you were already there, you already have the result. And so it's about living in that truth today without kind of like being delulu. I mean, let's be real. Every musical theatre artist are all a bit delusional. We're all a little bit delulu. And that's okay. Let's live in your delusion, but live in the intention that it's supportive for you. And so yeah, write out maybe, what's a small daily action or a weekly action that will move you closer to feeling those feelings. It could be attend a workshop or a class each and every month that maybe pushes you but makes you feel excited. So it's again bringing that gap between just actually having fun and enjoying, as if you're already on contract. How would you be showing up in your day-to-day life? Start to build your life now so that when you're in the show, it's just so easy and fun. Because it's not all new, because you've already been building the life. You're literally saying, universe, I am ready. Not like, I'm not ready. I will only be ready once I get it. Honestly, that does not how it works. You got to show that you're putting in the work. You got to show that you're ready for the life that you're calling in. Are you ready to pack up your life and go overseas for 2 years in a musical doing 8 shows a week? Like, are you really ready? Right? And it's okay if you're not, but it's like learning how to just shift it towards how would that feel and starting to base your actions off that. Second last question. Who have I leaned on for support in the past, and who is coming with you in 2025? Ooh, love this. Identify mentors, maybe it's Taylor, peers in this community or this community that lifts you up, who helps you feel inspired and grounded. So just quickly have a think about, who are some friends, maybe family, who are some key people, maybe 3 to 5 people that really supported you, that you felt like if you went to them, it was just amazing. They expanded your vision. Again, maybe there's some expanders, and maybe you can only think of 1 or 2. That's okay. Just write it down, who supported you in that year that you feel like you want to bring them into. We're not throwing them out and deleting them off on the socials or the number, but we're actually like going, okay, who was supporting me in last year, and we want to bring them in. And it's about dialing that up. Let's dial up that. And then what else? Yeah, and then think about who's coming with you in the next year as well. Do we have a question in the chat box? No? Okay, no question. All good. I haven't actually navigated much on this one, so it's all good. All good. Yes, who's coming with you in 2025? Maybe it's this community. Let's not do the maybe. This community is going to be here for 2025. We're doing some amazing things here, and we're all here for you. And if you're new to the platform, come on in. Check in the show notes if you're watching the podcast. So that's about that. Identifying the mentors, peers, and community that lift you up, who help you feel inspired and grounded. Final question. What's one soulful way I'll celebrate my wins? Amen. Amen. How are you going to actually celebrate soulfully the wins you do? Because we're programmed to just be in this forward thinking motion of trialing and like not actually reflecting or celebrating, because a lot of the time we are actually searching for that outward validation. We're waiting for, I got to post it, how many views, how many things, or in a class, I want to be picked out. All these things, they're all fine because we're all human. But what happens if you start to soulfully celebrate when you really felt proud of yourself? Because guess what happens? You don't have to wait for anyone else. So you get to just automatically feel the value because you knew that already that was valuable to you. And guess what? No one knows what you value but you. So what's one soulful way you can celebrate your win? And this can be a dinner with friends. Bring people over. Have a nachos night. I don't know. I'm really more of an introvert, so maybe one friend will come over. I can only deal with so much at some time. Or is it just a day off? Go into nature. Maybe it's a day where you just do nothing. This is something I've had to get on board coming into the end of last year. Like we feel guilty, right? If we don't do something, but we're in such a massive state of doing that we forget to just be. When we're children and we don't have things that we've got to do, yes, we've got to work. Don't all of a sudden just cancel work. Taylor said I need a day off. I mean, maybe you need to. That's okay. But yeah, do the things that are going to refill you and kind of give you the acknowledgement. Because, honey, if you wait around for the industry, for other people to give you the acknowledgement you know you deserve, you'll be waiting a long time. And if you once you get it, you almost won't be able to handle it. You'll be like, oh no, 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 you're not like, oh yeah, not me. Oh yeah. So start to validate yourself. Start to know that you are so worth it. And doing that soulfully is really where that medicine and that magic comes. This could also be a joyful moment to acknowledge your progress, writing it out. You know, how will you honor you? So nearly an hour of me talking, but yeah, 2025, I really hope, and not even hope, I'm gonna get this word out of it, but I just want this to be your year to step forward with a bit more clarity and purpose. Let's, leave what didn't serve us in the past and just leave it there. Let us not dive into the same habitual things, because again, coming back to taking responsibility, it's all about how you're responding to everything around you. So trust your unique path and let these questions, I'll add it in the show notes. Again, if you're listening in, a jot form you can fill out so you can send all of these wonderful things to me. The benefits of that is I get to celebrate you for doing this work and to share your vision. And I love hearing from everyone in the community that shares with me all the things you're wanting to achieve. And it's just amazing. So it's been awesome chatting with you all. I know that I put out in here there's going to be a Q&A, but I feel like I channeled in something today. So I feel like I've answered a lot of questions. So I think we'll leave it there today, and maybe on the hub we'll do another Q&A. And if you're listening in on the Dive podcast, I'll say goodbye to you first. Thank you for being here. And if this is your first episode, well, you picked an amazing one, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. And if you're not inside the hub with all of us, go into the show notes and join, because it's not going to be free forever. And what are you waiting for?